Elon Musk tweeting this morning, "What the heck is going on? Breaking: 150 Democrats vote against a bill to deport illegals caught driving drunk. 215 Republicans joined with 59 sane Democrats against 150 naysayers." You know what that means, don't you? 3/4 of the Democrat Party bimble around the streets genuinely believing that driving while pissed is a sensible proposition. I mean, I can only assume AOC's working off the logic that she crashed the car while sober and it hurt a bit, got a crick in the neck, walked with a bit of a limp for a few days, and then she wrapped her car around a tree after 16 cocktails and it didn't hurt, walked away without a scratch. And from that interaction she concluded, therefore, you're much better off wrecking your car when you're full of drink. Totally logical. Right then, this is a beauty, isn't it? 59 Democrats voting with Republicans to pass a bill to deport illegal immigrants who commit DUIs. That's driving under the influence. And 150 of them voted against it, so 3/4 of them voted against it. This is what we're talking about. When people like Joe Rogan and myself, who, because I don't like filling in needless paperwork, I believe I'm actually still a registered Democrat. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago when I got my citizenship, and when they asked me what my party preference was, I honestly answered Democrat because I was labouring under the delusion that being an English conservative and all of the options here in the States being right of that position, that therefore the Democrat ticket was a logical one for a reasonable, middle-of-the-road, socially liberal conservative type. But it turns out that in the last 4 years they have completely lost their mind, and now it's controversial to deport not just criminals, but selfish, self-centred, extremely dangerous criminals that entered the country illegally and then thought, I know, I'm going to have 10 pints of Guinness and go for a drive. It really does beg a belief, and it's a point that people like me have been making for a long time. If the very first thing that somebody does is break the law to get into your country, it already tells you something about the character. I'm in my 40s and I don't have a criminal record because I have a risk-averse personality. I don't like breaking any rules. In fact, I really have never had a parking ticket. True story. I've got no points in my licence here, and I've never had any points on my licence in the UK, ever, because I always obey the rules. But in Cloud Cuckoo Land, this creation of the woke, the anarcho-tyranny that I've talked about so much, people like me that have got no points on our driving licences and no criminal convictions, we don't get anything for that. We don't get rewarded for it. We just get constantly penalised. If you're the type of person that will break into a country illegally, you already have the character. You're the type of person that sees rules and knows about laws and rules and says, I don't care about those things. It says a lot about you, which explains why, as we all know, and the government don't like talking about it, the criminality rates for these people are much, much higher. And that is a fact. They just don't want to talk about it. Anyway, let's read the story, shall we? I'm sure it'll perk me right up, knowing that I'm likely to get crippled by a Guatemalan drug mule the next time I go take the dog for a walk. 59 House Democrats joined Republicans to pass a bill to deport illegal immigrants caught driving under the influence on Thursday. The measure passed 274 against 150. 150 Democrats voted against it. Yeah, every single vote against was a Dem. In the United States, somebody dies in a crash with an impaired driver every 45 minutes. I lost 2 of my young newlywed constituents to an illegal immigrant driving under the influence of alcohol. Disgraceful. And this is what I keep saying. If you're not angry, you're not doing life right. I make jokes about rage boners all the time, but this should make you angry. Everybody gets lost in the noise and the statistics. They read a sentence like that and it doesn't touch them. They accuse people like us, sane people, of lacking empathy. But it's because of the empathy that we have a right-wing opinion on immigration statistics, because when I read that, I get angry when I think of a couple of young newlyweds who aren't here anymore. The first time I ever got angry about it was Kate Steinley's murder in San Francisco. Do you remember that? Just in case you need reminding. Kate Steinley was an attractive young woman who was minding her own business walking down the pier in San Francisco when an illegal immigrant shot her in the face. And best of all, because Donald Trump went on TV and said, yeah, that's shocking, that. And I'm blowing this bit up because I wouldn't believe me. And on November 30th, after 5 days of deliberations, a jury acquitted Garcia Zarate of murder and manslaughter charges due to lack of evidence. Yeah, they let him off because the political activists, and they were like, oh, he's illegal, it's not his fault. So don't tell me I lack empathy. I think about the victims. It's because of empathy that I don't like these people coming in. If they were all young women fleeing from war zones, then I would have empathy for them, but they aren't. We've all seen the pictures, and the vast, vast majority of illegal immigrants, both in the United States and across the pond, are big, hairy, beardy weirdies, many of them with hissing luggage. That's why we don't have empathy for them. I prefer to worry about the victims. They're like a bad stereotype, the walk. The people who, if a burglar smashes your granny's kitchen window, climbs through, pinches a biscuit tin full of her life savings, and then curls one out on the kitchen floor just out of spite, the woke say, "Ooh, I hope he didn't hurt his hand when he climbed through the window. It's sharp glass, you know." I don't care about these people. Because you've got a mental illness, you empathise with the perpetrators of crime. Normal people empathise with the victims of crime, like this aforementioned young couple, and not the pissed up migrant driving like he's blindfolded. It's not difficult, is it? The bill would make people who were charged with a DUI automatically eligible for deportation and permanently inadmissible. Just last month, an undocumented migrant from El Salvador who had been deported 4 times was accused of killing a mother and son in a car crash the police said involved alcohol. If you read that story and it doesn't boil your piss, there is something wrong with you. And this is the best bit. Have you seen the picture of the bloke who did it? If that doesn't say fine, upstanding gentleman, I don't know what does. You know who he reminds me of? The bloke off Team America when he put his disguise on. Do you remember that?
Amazing!
The Valmorification completely worked.
Sit up and take a look, Gary. It's uncanny.
It's uncanny. Look at that. He looks like a poorly trained soldier who's just put cam cream on for the first time. But yeah, it's not really funny, is it? I try to have a laugh, but stories like this make me very, very angry. Hence the name. But misery loves company, and it's nice to know that the American politicians are as out of touch as all of the British ones. Again, like I keep saying, at least in the States, there is a right-wing alternative, because all the Republicans voted against it. If they tried this in the United Kingdom, everyone had voted down, including all the Conservatives, because that big, woke, wet Weetabix, Rishi Sunak, has got even less of a spine than the albino jellyfish, Boris Johnson. So, again, I keep almost bragging about the fact that I live in the States now. At least it passed. If it was in Europe, it wouldn't have passed, because in Europe, enforcing the law is fascism, apparently. But let me know what you think. Do you think Europeans have got a better handle on the migrant crisis than American politicians? Because I don't. However, as usual, give me your opinions. I like to hear them. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you all very soon. Cheers.